Good evening, and on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, let me once again wish everyone a Happy New Year. As Board President, one of my responsibilities is to stand here on the bima on this sacred night and share some words on behalf of B'nai Torah and our Board. Some folks look forward to it, others dread it, but all of us only get 2 opportunities to do this during our tenure, and we definitely want to make the most of it when we do. This year, I was struggling with what I should say in my final Kol Nidre appeal. That is, until I looked at social media at the end of last week and saw many people I know, including my own wife and daughter, doing something that I would have loved to do, but unfortunately and ironically didn't have the time for. That is when the inspiration hit me like a bolt of lightning. You see, last week, the touring production of Broadway's Back to the Future made its way through Atlanta for a stop at the Fox Theater. The show is the stage adaptation of one of my favorite movies of all time. If I'm flipping channels late at night or none of the options on the Delta seatbacks appeal to me and see Back to the Future, I'm turning it on. What is it about this movie that I love so much? Maybe it's because it brings back a cherished childhood memory of seeing it for the first time. My mom picked me up from summer camp and drove me straight to the theater as a surprise. It was just the 2 of us, a couple of oversized Cokes, a giant bucket of popcorn to share, and some candy she snuck in. Or maybe it was the really cool car, a tricked out DeLorean that could travel through time once it hit 88 miles per hour. No matter the reasons, Back to the Future is always a guaranteed watch for me. So why am I choosing to talk about a 40-year-old movie on Kol Nidre, a night we begin the solemn observance of Yom Kippur, and my job as president is to appeal for your support of B'nai Torah through both generous financial donations and acts of service? Well, it's because I believe that the Back to the Future movies can teach us a bit about this holiday, how we should think about both the past and the future, and how those choices we make impact more than just ourselves, but the world around us too. Well, the first 2 movies. The third one was completely irredeemable, and I hope that both Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis listed as some of their regrets. For anyone who doesn't watch them as frequently as I do, the first film told the story of Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox. There's that word again, Fox. Fox Theater, Michael J. Fox. Such a common 3-letter word in our vocabulary, isn't it, Rabbi Heller? Anyhow, Back to the Future 1 tells the story of Marty McFly and how his life in the idyllic town of Hill Valley in 1985 was shaped by the choices made by people decades earlier, and what would happen if any one of those choices made years before he was born was changed in even the slightest. What if his mom, Lorraine, had met someone else the day she was supposed to meet his dad, George? Would Marty still exist? Spoiler alert, no. What if his dad stood up to Biff instead of just accepting his abuse? Life would be a whole lot different for the McFlys, as we learned in the movie. What if they had finished the movie with Eric Stoltz instead of switching to Michael J. Fox? With all due respect to Mr. Stoltz, it probably wouldn't have been as good, and I also wouldn't have had the easy opportunity to sneak in that Fox joke. In many ways, the first movie is analogous to the thoughts I shared with you from this bima last Kol Nidre, and how B'nai Torah and my family got to where we are today together. There are so many moments and choices, both big and small, were made by us and others that changed the trajectory of our lives without us even knowing it. What if the rabbi at the first shul we visited wasn't leaving? Would have been able to officiate our wedding? Would we have toured B'nai Torah at all? What if B'nai Torah didn't become an egalitarian shul? Would we have stayed through our daughter's bat mitzvah? What if we hadn't hired any or all of Rabbi Heller, Rabbi Kay, or Rabbi Bright? What would our service offerings be like today, and how would that have impacted the decisions made by so many of you to become part of our congregation? Where would any of us be if Natalie never became our executive director? So many independent and seemingly unrelated choices led to where all of us are today, but it's important to still ask, where are we? B'nai Torah proudly stands as what we consider to be the flagship conservative synagogue in Atlanta, and the largest between Boca and DC. It remains strong in its commitment to Jewish traditions, while at the same time proudly opening its doors to Jews of any background. It doesn't matter if you grew up in a Reform synagogue like me or an Orthodox one like my wife. Just like it doesn't matter what your race, personal politics, gender, or who you love is. B'nai Torah can and aspires to be your Jewish home in Atlanta. Choosing to be true to our values is our greatest strength. And make no mistake, B'nai Torah is as strong as it is today thanks to that and so many other choices, including those made by many of you and those before you made to support us in a variety of ways. Reflecting on our past is insightful to help us understand how we got to where we are today, just as it helped Marty learn more about himself and better appreciate his family in the first film. But absent having a DeLorean with a flux capacitor in the back, it's difficult to know for certain what lies ahead. And quite frankly, even if we had that DeLorean, getting it up to 88 miles per hour on Mount Vernon right now would be impossible. That's why Back to the Future 2 is not just the rare sequel that didn't disappoint, it is also full of valuable lessons for us. Most notably, that even when everything seems in order, life can change in the blink of an eye, and those changes are influenced by so many different choices that lie ahead of us and haven't been made yet. The second movie begins with Marty relishing the success which resulted from what he and Doc Brown did in the first film. But he quickly learns that his future isn't what he imagines it would be at that moment. Fortunately, he is given the unique opportunity to rectify that. Initially, he makes the most of his chance to positively influence the future by intervening to prevent a mistake by his son that would have ruined his life and destroyed their family, while seemingly once again preserving Hill Valley as a place of hope and prosperity for the McFlys and everyone else. However, Marty quickly undoes that act of good with an act of greed, thinking only of his own personal gain, buying a sports almanac that would help him cheat in gambling back in his own time. As anyone who has seen the film knows, that book falls into the hands of the bully Biff, who turns Hill Valley, a nice place to live, into Hell Valley. In a single moment, Marty made a choice that squandered the good fortune that had taken decades to build for Hill Valley and his family. He and Doc Brown then had to go through a tremendous amount of effort and personal danger to fix what he broke in the space-time continuum, just so that their hometown could once again be a nice place to live. So what does all this have to do with B'nai Torah? As I shared earlier, we are fortunate to currently be in a position of strength, a nice place to daven, if you will. B'nai Torah is here for us on the most important days of our lives, provides education for every age and stage, and is a place for meaningful ritual 365 days a year. We are a gathering point for the community to come together around things that matter, serving every generation from young singles and couples to families with children to empty nesters to boomers and beyond. However, we can't do it without you. All of this requires a variety of resources that we are so grateful our community has not been shy to provide over the years, truly demonstrating the power of love for B'nai Torah. From the time, energy, and passion our many lay leaders and volunteers who help support our mission, through the generous monetary donations, both big and small, none of what made us who we are or will shape our future will be possible without you. You are our 1.21 gigawatts, or our bolt of lightning. Staying strong and continuing to grow and be the Jewish home for ourselves and the generations that follow us requires each of us to help however we can. Like Marty, but without the benefit of time travel, we must prepare for the future that awaits our soul. There's a lot we can and must do to not only maintain this beautiful building in which we come together to pray, celebrate, mourn, and live our Jewish lives as a community, but grow it for the future. Just behind this ark is the land next door. Though we already use it today for services and activities, we can make it so much more. We need to reimagine, reinvest in, and restart our preschool to bring in the next generation of members and families. There are also, if you will, the flux capacitors that are not exciting, but make our shul go. Security, accessibility, the kitchens, mechanical systems, etc. All of us tonight are sitting in a room that was paid for with a loan, which is currently a drag on our annual budget until we're able to pay it off. Unfortunately, we can't rely on sports betting to fund our future. Most synagogues our size have an endowment that helps fill the gaps. You can help us with that by choosing to remember B'nai Torah in your will or estate plans. In the coming months, we'll be coming to you to help us decide how we move forward on building for today, tomorrow, and as we seek to build and secure the future of B'nai Torah. But tonight, on Kol Nidre, we need to think about the present. Helping financially through the Kol Nidre campaign is one way. Our dues only cover 45% of what it costs to run the congregation. And not everyone can afford to pay full dues, but we never want to turn anyone away. We strive to provide spirituality, education, inspiration, and fun for everyone from babies to boomers. To do that, we need to support and retain the staff who make it all possible. If you've had a bar or bat mitzvah here recently, you know what it costs for us to offer Kiddush every week. In these times, we also need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on security. All of this is on top of just keeping the building open and the lights on. An extra $100 or even an extra $18 multiplied by 950 families makes a big difference. And beyond what you can give financially, you can help the congregation be its best by volunteering, by being part of our Kesher committee, supporting our minyan, and more. That is why Kol Nidre is so important, because it gives all of us an opportunity to support B'nai Torah both today and in the future. Tomorrow, we will hear the beautifully haunting pew, Unatana Tokef, for the last time this high holiday season. It lists all the manifold ways our lives can go in the year ahead. Who shall be exalted and who shall be humbled? Who shall be made rich and who shall be made poor? Who shall live and who shall die? All of these possible fates, we are told, are in the hands of God, and therefore seemingly beyond our control. Despite this, though, we are nonetheless admonished that through the choices we make, we can influence the outcome. Through teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, we can have a say in our own futures. Said another way, in similar words from a more modern-day sage, your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. That was Doc Brown at the very end of Back to the Future 3, proving that even when something seems irredeemable, there is still value to be found in it. As always in the series, the doc was right. Every choice we make can and will impact what lies ahead, not just for us, but those who follow us in the future. So later this evening, before my colleagues from the board walk through the aisles and collect your Kol Nidre cards, I kindly ask you to consider all the ways in which you can choose to help us build from our position of strength today and tomorrow, and turn down some of those tabs. You can pave the road ahead for the future of B'nai Torah. Unless, of course, where we're going, we don't need roads. Gemar Chatima Tova, may you be inscribed in the book of life.